She boarded expecting a forgettable flight. A seat, a window, a nap. Instead, a cold drink exploded across her clothes, and the cabin did something worse than stare. They minimized it. No apology, no urgency, just the kind of quiet that says get over it. But she knew something most passengers don't. The rules that keep planes on the ground when safety and accountability are at stake. In minutes, without shouting, without leaving her seat, she would pull a lever that froze an entire crew and stopped a departure. What did a simple spill reveal, and why did the doors stay closed? She was the kind of traveler who moved like water, conserving energy through a maze of checkpoints. Early alarm, packed charger, comfortable layers, a window seat, 14A, chosen for the view and the quiet. She placed her bag overhead and her book in the seat pocket, exhaling the kind of sigh that comes from carrying more than a carry-on. She wasn't new to airports or to the thousand small calculations black travelers make every day. What to wear, where to sit, how to be unbothered in spaces that often pretend not to see them. Outside, dusk painted the tarmac in bands of orange and steel. The cabin hummed. Seatbelts clicked, overhead bins slammed, the choreography of departure. She scrolled once, twice, then switched to airplane mode, ready for a silent hour between two busy days. The crew moved briskly, bright smiles polished by repetition. Across the aisle, a couple swapped seats. 2 rows back, a child pressed his face to the window. In front, a man rehearsed an email he'd never send. The plan was simple. Take off, breathe, land, keep moving. But air travel rarely honors plans. It reveals them, tests them. And for her, the test would arrive in a moment so ordinary it could be missed. The moment a tray angled a degree too far, and a hand didn't steady it. The cart eased into the row with the soft clatter of plastic lids. The attendant's focus slipped, a cup tipped, and cold liquid leapt in a silver arc. It struck like a shock, soaking fabric, slipping under seams, spreading across her lap and into the seat cushion. Gasps are loud. Indifference is louder. The aisle tensed, then relaxed, as if to say accidents happen and that should be the end of it. She blinked against the sting of the ice, the sting of something older. She lifted her hands, steady, palms away from the spill, waiting for a towel, a napkin, an apology that acknowledged the obvious. The attendant reached for a few thin squares and set them down with the kind of efficiency that solves everything and nothing. The chill deepened. The liquid bled into the cushion, into the seatbelt webbing, into the story this flight would tell. Her eyes scanned for the lead, the person who makes things right. She knew the rhythm of crews, positions, roles, responsibilities. She knew that a spill wasn't just a mess. It was a hygiene and safety issue. Wet seatbelts don't lock properly. Damp cushions grow cold in climate-controlled air. Spilled liquid on polished aisles becomes a hazard the second wheels push back. She breathed in, measured and calm, and asked for what should have come without asking. Help that matched the harm. The response landed softer than the spill but bruised more. A shrug in the shape of policy. A smile that said it wasn't a big deal. A suggestion to dab and move on. The cabin returned to its quiet. The way a room sometimes returns to quiet after a joke that should not have been made. She felt the old fork in the road that too many black travelers know. Accept the discomfort to keep the peace, or claim the dignity that keeps you whole. She chose the second road carefully, not with volume but with precision. She requested the lead. She asked for the incident to be documented. She referenced the airline's safety management system, the one that requires reports when something affects a passenger's fitness to fly. She asked for a change of seat or for time to return to the gate if the seat was unsafe. The words weren't dramatic. They were exact. They named procedures and protections. They pulled the situation out of the realm of inconvenience and into the realm of safety. Phones tilted without being raised. A few passengers watched with the kind of attention that arrives when someone refuses to swallow what should be spit out. The lead approached, posture firm, face controlled. The offer came late and small. More napkins, a blanket, a promise that it would dry. The promise did not change the reality. She was wet, the seat was wet, the belt was wet, the aisle was slick. The temperature would drop at altitude. Comfort had become risk. She stayed still, breathing in fours. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Calm wasn't surrender. It was strategy. She repeated her request for documentation. She noted she was no longer fit to fly in soaked clothes and a soaked restraint. She asked for a duty manager at the door. These weren't theatrics. They were triggers, quiet mechanisms inside big systems that halt motion until the truth is recorded. The seconds stretched as the plane's timeline pressed forward. Doors due to close, pushback scheduled, a captain waiting on a green light. The lead hesitated, one part pride, one part procedure, one part the learned muscle of minimizing complaints that don't fit a script. She added one more lever. She stated this as a safety concern, not a comfort preference, and requested an entry in the flight log. Regulations don't care about tone. They care about accuracy. The aisle glistened where the spill had spread. The cabin was a tableau of normalcy with a crack running through it. At the threshold, ground crew hovered. The captain's decision loomed, invisible but present, like turbulence you don't see until you feel it. The clock slipped past the minute when a plane either goes or doesn't. For once, the gate agents didn't step back. They stepped closer. The chain reaction began with a call, short, clipped, undeniable. The words were procedural, but the impact was human. The door did not close. The jet bridge did not pull away. The captain requested a hold for a safety matter in the cabin. The flight attendants paused, hands hovering over latches and lanyards, their momentum interrupted by the very rules they live by. The plane, moments from motion, stayed still. The duty manager arrived, wearing the practiced calm of someone who speaks for the company and listens for the truth. The lead's summary was tidy. The reality was not. The manager's eyes tracked the moisture map. Lap to cushion, cushion to belt, belt to floor. A thin line of liquid still marked the aisle, a small runway of risk. Policy met evidence and could not look away. She sat grounded in her own calm, not weaponized, not performative, just steady. She restated the facts. A spill that soaked clothing and restraint. A delay in meaningful assistance. A request for documentation. A statement of not being fit to fly in current conditions. She didn't need to raise her voice. The plane itself amplified her. The cold in the fabric did the speaking. The damp in the belt did the proving. The duty manager signaled the captain. The captain signaled the ground. And then the word that changes everything came down the interphone like a gavel, hold. In that instant, the crew froze, not from fear, but from recognition. Something they had minimized had become the axis the flight now turned on. The cart paused mid-aisle. A passenger across the row pulled their feet back from the slick. The cabin lost its pretend normal and gained honesty. A crew member retrieved a yellow hazard placard. Late but present. The duty manager called for supplies, for a seat change, for an incident report number. The plane remained at gate, grounded not by weather or maintenance, but by a refusal to move forward without accountability. What followed wasn't dramatic. It was deliberate. The wet cushion was replaced. The belt was swapped. The aisle was cleaned with the care it should have received the moment the liquid spread. A new seat opened up, then another, as the duty manager recalibrated the cabin to restore safety and face. The flight attendant who spilled stepped back from service while the report was taken. The checklists ticked forward again, but now they included her voice, her reality, her right to be dry, warm, and dignified at 30,000 feet. The delay that many would blame on a single moment had deeper roots. Not the spill, but the reflex to diminish it. Not the accident, but the assumption that she would absorb the cost in silence. She didn't. She used the rules that exist for everyone but are often deployed for a few. She insisted on the form, the log, the number, the paper trail that turns stories into systems. When the manager offered apologies and options, change, rebook, compensation, she accepted what restored her safety without mistaking it for justice. Justice wasn't a voucher. It was the message sent through the cabin. Your comfort matters, your body matters, and your refusal to be minimized is not a disruption. It's a correction. Later, as the plane finally rolled back, eyes met hers that hadn't before. Not pity, recognition. A quiet inventory of all the times they had let something slide because speaking felt riskier than discomfort. Her choice had cost time. It had saved something larger, herself, and maybe the next person who needed the rules to work as written. This wasn't a headline about chaos at a gate. It was a ledger entry in the long record of small harms and necessary stands. It was a reminder that racism doesn't always announce itself with shouting. Sometimes it shows up as delays in empathy, discounts on dignity, and a practiced ease with other people's discomfort. It was also a reminder of power, policy, persistence, and the calm that turns a minor accident into a major awakening. As the wheels lifted, the night outside opened like a page. The cabin dimmed. She leaned back in a dry seat, wrapped in a blanket that arrived when it should have, carrying a story she didn't ask for but told with purpose. The question she left in the air is the question for all of us. When it's easiest to look away, who will insist that we look closer? And when someone says they are not okay, will we make room? Or will we keep moving and call it normal? If this story moved you, stay through the credits, share your thoughts, and carry the reminder forward. Dignity is not a favor. It's policy.